You're watching Coin TV, Channel 6, Portland, Vancouver.
Free speech, hate crimes, and tough punishment. A major ruling today from the U.S. Supreme Court.
The U.S. as world police force, thousands of Marines are pulled out of Kuwait and sent back to Somalia.
And Eye on America. Tonight, child murders, a cult connection, and a small town in shock.
They're animals. They don't even deserve the right to be called a human. They're animals.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather and Connie Chung.
Good evening. The Supreme Court issued two important rulings today on the First Amendment, deciding what it does and does not protect. At issue, animal sacrifices practiced by some religions and tough sentences for so-called hate crimes. Law correspondent Rita Braver reports on the two unanimous decisions.
The Supreme Court today said the Constitution allows this Hialeah, Florida church, which practices a voodoo-based religion, to carry out animal sacrifices. The city wanted to ban sacrifices on grounds of animal cruelty, but the Supreme Court said, though a religious practice may be abhorrent to some, in most cases it must be allowed as part of the nation's essential commitment to religious freedom.
We feel that it is a victory for all people in the United States, all people who love freedom and who love religion.
The case is important because it upholds the First Amendment right of freedom of religion, saying it can't be restricted simply because lawmakers don't like a particular activity. But in another First Amendment case, the court said the right of freedom of speech cannot be used to justify violent acts based on hatred.
With hate crimes on the rise nationwide, the court said states may increase penalties when criminals choose their victims based on bigotry. The decision came in a case from Wisconsin where a group of blacks who'd been discussing this scene from the film Mississippi Burning set upon Gregory Reddick and beat him unconscious. Todd Mitchell, who'd instigated the attack, was convicted of battery. Instead of the normal 2-year sentence, he got 4 because it was a hate crime. Backed by civil libertarians, he argued that extra punishment for bigotry was unconstitutional. But the Supreme Court sided with Wisconsin's Attorney General.
Clearly, the court has upheld a state's right to consider that these types of crimes present special dangers to a community.
A unanimous court said states may increase penalties for hate-based crime because it's thought to inflict greater individual and societal harm. Rita Braver, CBS News at the Supreme Court.
Some would argue that we do pay a price for the First Amendment. For example, it protects the hate-filled messages in some movies and music videos. Some experts believe those messages are contributing to the spread of racial hatred in this country, especially among younger people, as correspondent Jacqueline Adams explains.
According to a new national survey conducted for the Anti-Defamation League, 77% of Americans think race relations are worse than ever. The biggest surprise, white Americans between the ages of 18 and 29 express far more anti-black prejudice than their baby boom era parents.
I believe that there is racism in the younger age. They seem to be more violent, more outspoken at the moment.
People in my age group have made racist comments towards me, yeah.
With like the neo-Nazi movement and stuff, just recently, that I think there's no regard for other people.
Experts blame a variety of factors. The hate-filled messages spewing forth from many music videos and movies, the backlash against affirmative action and quotas, but mostly the fact that today's young adults did not directly experience either the ugliness or the inspiration of the civil rights movement.
I have a dream.
Our younger generation does not remember, does not see in front of their eyes individuals being hosed down by police and fire hoses. I think that left an indelible mark on the baby boomers.
Some analysts also think that the black is beautiful, brown is beautiful emphasis on ethnic pride has divided Americans and become a rationale for bigotry. Yet others think only a genuine celebration of American diversity can in fact end racism.
When you can see African Americans and Latino Americans and white Americans and Asians and Pacific Islanders and Native Americans across lines of race, across lines of color, all working together, is the extent to which our children will get the signal that it's all right to be of a different color. It's all right to be of a different race.
Whatever Whatever the reasons, the survey found that black and white Americans view the economy, the courts, and the police from diametrically opposed perspectives. There can be little racial harmony, the experts agree, until those differences disappear. Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, New York.
In Europe today, evidence that hate attacks may be spreading there. The latest one aimed at foreign refugees, this time in Denmark. Arsonists burned down a tent camp being prepared for refugees from Bosnia and other former Yugoslav republics. The camp, fortunately, was empty at the time and nobody was hurt. In Bosnia today, a convoy of Muslim refugees came under fire by Croats seeking revenge for recent Muslim attacks. 2 drivers were shot and killed, others were seized and beaten. British peacekeepers finally shot back at the Croats and killed 2. The first time UN troops have killed anyone so far in Bosnia. The UN troops say the situation is near anarchy and that their peacekeeping duties are becoming impossible to carry out.
In Somalia, UN peacekeepers are looking once again to the U.S. military for massive retaliation against a Somali warlord. As National Security Correspondent David Martin reports, the stakes are high for the UN, for Somalia, and for President Clinton.
2,000 U.S. Marines have been pulled out of this exercise in Kuwait and sent steaming south towards Somalia, as the Clinton administration stands tonight on the verge of its first combat operation. The Marines are back up for an operation designed to knock out the forces of Somali warlord Mohammed Aidid, the man believed responsible for an ambush which killed 23 UN peacekeepers last weekend. Aidid continues to move around Mogadishu with impunity, but he knows he is a marked man.
Since the incident of last Saturday, the tension of in the country, particularly in Mogadishu, is rising.
4 American AC-130 gunships are on alert in the African country of Djibouti next door to Somalia. The gunships, each one capable of spewing out 17,000 rounds a minute, would be used to destroy Aidid's weapons caches, while UN troops from other countries go door to door, searching for Aidid and his followers. 1,000 U.S. combat troops already in Somalia would be held in reserve and called in only if the UN troops get in trouble. Aidid has an estimated 10,000 followers, and opinion is split on whether they will fight or run. On paper, Aidid should be no match for the 18,000 UN peacekeeping forces in Somalia, but since they come from so many different countries, U.S. officials have little confidence in their ability to operate as a fighting force.
Compared to other U.S. military operations of recent years, the upcoming strike against Aidid is relatively small scale. But there's a sense of apprehension at the Pentagon tonight, both because officials here have so little faith in the other UN troops and because this is the first real combat operation of this administration. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon. And straight ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, Travelgate, the Internal Revenue Service, and new allegations of possible misconduct inside the White House.
And 2 ferocious shark attacks in the past week. Should swimmers beware?
What brings you to Clausen? I'm looking to cook pickles. I'm a pickle cook. We don't cook our pickles. Why don't you cook your pickles? It's just a matter of taste.
Unlike most pickles, Clausen pickles are never cooked. They're always cold, always crisp, always delicious.
You don't cook your pickles. That's funny.
Introducing Ford Taurus Wagon and the Picnic. Its smart design makes it perfect for a picnic, while its dual airbags and anti-lock brakes make it perfect for when life's something less than a picnic. Ford Taurus, America's best-selling car.
How many times I told my dad to see a doctor. He was stubborn. But the pain in his stomach just wouldn't go away. He had to go. You should have seen the relief on his face when the doctor said Mylanta. He said it was indigestion, and his kind of indigestion needed strong medicine.
Mylanta is strong medicine, strongly recommended. In fact, Mylanta is the antacid doctors recommend most.
My doctor said Mylanta.
Also available in tablets and now gel caps.
The case known as Travelgate may be getting bigger tonight. There are questions now about whether the Clinton White House attempted to use the Internal Revenue Service for political and personal purposes. Republicans are calling on Congress to investigate. CBS News correspondent Eric Ingberg has the latest.
The small airline company that flew the White House press to presidential events found itself the target of an IRS investigation soon after the Clinton administration fired the White House travel staff. There are growing suspicions tonight in Washington that the White House may have played a role in initiating that investigation, bringing Republican demands for an outside probe of whether law enforcement agencies were improperly used.
Was, in fact, the IRS and the FBI used as sort of political bodyguards. And until we have the answers, we have a real crisis of competence.
The suspicions grow out of the way Travelgate unfolded. May 10th, Clinton confidant Harry Thomason, an investor in an airline charter company, complains to presidential aides about the travel office. May 13th, a White House lawyer presses the FBI to investigate and mentions the possibility of an IRS investigation. May 19th, the entire travel office staff is fired. May 21st, 3 IRS agents show up at the Ultra Air offices in Tennessee demanding all records from a company that was so new it had never filed a tax return.
Well, 3 agents would show up unannounced with a summons to the headquarters of a company that hadn't filed a tax return. It just doesn't make sense unless there was a political impetus behind the examination.
IRS rules require higher-ups to approve investigations. No one in the administration disputes mentioning the IRS, but officials deny calling the tax man in.
No one from the White House ever contacted the IRS.
An IRS investigation of what happened is due out Monday. The White House is also investigating, but Republican charges of cover-up may force it to turn the case over to an outsider. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
Well, is tomorrow the day President Clinton finally names a replacement for Byron White on the Supreme Court? Mr. Clinton had a 2-hour meeting today with Boston federal judge Stephen Breyer, said to be the leading candidate. But afterward, a spokeswoman said the president had made no decision and had not offered the job to Judge Breyer.
Also at the White House today, President Clinton introduced Walter Mondale as his choice for ambassador to Japan, saying, quote, "There is no more important relationship in the world than that between the U.S. and Japan," end quote.
At the UN, North Korea eased fears of a new nuclear arms race. The communist nation pulled back from its threat to withdraw from the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. The reversal followed intensive talks with U.S. diplomats.
The government of Iran claims a massive turnout in elections today, despite an opposition boycott. President Rafsanjani is assured of a landslide win over 3 minor opponents. 100 other challengers were disqualified because they lacked, quote, Islamic credentials.
And torrential rains and flash floods have swept through southern England and Wales, damaging buildings and turning the roads into rivers. 500 people had to be evacuated from their homes in one Welsh village.
Stay here with us for much more of the Friday CBS Evening News, including Dr. Bob Arnott with news about the growing threat of AIDS to heterosexual Americans.
You know how later in the morning you can start to run out of steam? Well, I've actually found a breakfast that helps keep me going. Breakfast with grape nuts. I heard try it for a week, so I did. And I feel so good. Turns out grape nuts is a fat-free, natural energy source. And it has a natural, crunchy taste. But really, you've got to try it for a week yourself. See how good you feel all morning.
Breakfast with Post Grape Nut cereal helps keep you going strong all morning long.
Stop breathing dirty, dusty air. Make your home a cleaner, healthier place. Call a day and night dealer to the rescue for a day and night electronic air cleaner. It can remove 95% of the dust, dirt, and pollen in your air. And if you have pets or allergies, it can really help. So call Day and Night to the rescue for an electronic air cleaner and for energy-efficient heating and cooling systems.
When I started using Miracle Grow, that's when I started winning blue ribbons.
I've won more than a dozen tomato championships.
My roses won Queen of the Show 3 times.
You'll never know what a great gardener you can be until you've used Miracle Grow.
You're going to grow it so you can hear it, so you can see it, so you can smell it. It's going to be like the best thing you ever ate in your life. Wait, it's not done. No, it's done.
A1, it's how burgers are done. The year of the woman, not in India, where no year ever has been and no year ever will be as long as they go on killing girl babies. 60 Minutes, Sunday.
Eye doctors in St. Louis say they have developed a new possible cure for nearsightedness that could make glasses and contact lenses generally obsolete. It's a tiny ring placed inside the cornea. It's only been tested successfully on a handful of patients so far. More testing is necessary. If successful, it could be 4 years before the surgery is available to the general public.
As the International AIDS Conference in Berlin came to a close tonight, American researchers headed home with warnings of sharply growing heterosexual AIDS in this country. And health correspondent Dr. Bob Arnott reports the worst is yet to come.
I have come tonight to bring our silence to an end.
Much of mainstream America still didn't think it could happen to them. But when Mary Fisher, mother of 2 young boys, told the Republican National Convention last summer that she had HIV, it was more hard proof that no segment of society is immune to this disease.
We want to believe it's in someone else's community or another part of town, but it's not. It's here. And it belongs to all of us. Any pain along here?
Heterosexual AIDS among Americans is growing faster than any other risk group, up 30% in 1992 alone. The CDC says this is a frightening trend.
I think it's inevitable that heterosexual transmission will be an increasing part of the AIDS public health problem in the United States. It already accounts for 50% of the cases in women and 25% of the cases in adolescents.
But the facts are being largely ignored. Studies show that unprotected sex is widespread among heterosexuals, particularly among young single people.
Things get hot and heavy and you don't stop to think about it because it feels good and you don't want to stop and ruin the moment.
Heterosexual AIDS has already skyrocketed in other parts of the world. Researchers have even found a strain of the AIDS virus in Thailand that seems to target heterosexuals exclusively. It has some U.S. scientists alarmed.
It's spreading by heterosexual transmission, by usual sex, if you will. And there certainly is a significant likelihood that this virus will be brought back sooner or later.
U.S. government scientists here say that this heterosexual strain of the virus from Thailand has not yet been seen in America. Regardless, they say that heterosexual AIDS in America is exploding. And the message to hammer home is that only safe sex or abstinence can prevent it. Dr. Bob Arnott, CBS News, at the International AIDS Conference in Berlin.
Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, Eye on America. Tonight, something that just couldn't happen in the heartland just did.
You really think naphtha can be replaced with a non-flammable solvent?
In 1929, she was the only woman and the only PhD chemist in the physics lab. But over the years, she was responsible for 29 different patents.
Hello, I'm Sylvia Stacer.
Dr. Stacer created a new career path for women and for her company. The same company that leads the nation in patents granted to women over the last decade. We think Dr. Stacer would be pleased.
Thou lets you do great things. My doctor said I didn't need surgery for my hemorrhoids. They weren't serious, and to use Preparation H.
Preparation H, trusted by millions to often help relieve the hemorrhoidal symptoms of itching, burning, and painful irritation for hours. Trust doctor-recommended Preparation H.
Introducing Ford Taurus and the little things. The design of the Taurus pays close attention to these little things, while its dual airbags and anti-lock brakes pay close attention to these little things. Ford Taurus, America's best-selling car.
Presenting the Ryobi Detail Sander. It gets into all those small, tight spaces where other sanders can't reach. And with special add-on accessories that also prepares surfaces for painting. Scrapes paint and adhesive off glass, wood, and metal. Even polishes and buffs to a brilliant finish. In fact, you can use the Ryobi Detail Sander any place your imagination takes you.
A stellar PGA field takes on one of the toughest courses on the PGA Tour. The Buick Classic this weekend on CBS Sports.
We're going to take you now to an American town, not much different than any other, probably a lot like yours. At least it was until a few weeks ago, when something horrible happened. Bob McNamara tells the story of how a whole town changed overnight over a nightmare. In tonight's Eye on America.
West Memphis, a handful of exits off the Arkansas interstate. A working-class suburb growing into a city. It has been a starting point for young families. But one neighborhood's tragedy has changed everything. Last month's brutal murders of 3 8-year-old boys. Last week's arrests of 3 local teenagers with reported links to Satanism.
Get him out of the way of the van!
Suddenly, this quiet place has been plunged into a war with itself.
What do you think about your son's involvement in this thing?
He didn't have anything to do with it.
Over victims, villains, and lost values.
People has just gotten horrible.
Right and wrong.
What has happened to morality?
Good and bad.
We killed my friend.
Innocence and evil.
They're animals. They don't even deserve the right to be called a human. They're animals.
It is a recurring American nightmare. A city once safe is now sinister.
I don't see why somebody would kill little boys for the fun of it.
In West Memphis this summer, fun has been replaced by fear.
Little boys like that don't deserve to die. Nobody deserves to die. It's not right.
If I think about it when I'm playing, it keeps me from enjoying myself.
Well, it's scary, and I don't like to go that far from home anymore.
They should be able to run and play and not have to worry about anything like that. It's really sad.
Parents in West Memphis have new worries, too. Not just about the safety of their kids, but about themselves. And what led life here to go so wrong.
You got kids killing kids here. That's a shame.
Sandra White and her family want to move to a place where raising kids could be less complicated.
I feel so bad for all the parents, not just of the murder victims. You can't go to her grandmother's. That's too far away.
You have to be involved with your kids. If you're not, it's a very big possibility that your child could be either the child that's murdered or the child that's doing the murdering.
This city's new problems have some seeking the oldest kinds of answers.
The worship of Satan is real. It's taking place. And our people need to be warned about it.
While there is evidence that local kids have dabbled in the occult,
a lot of it, I think, is frequently overblown. You know, somebody finds a dead chicken and immediately it's a satanic cult.
Newspaper editor Kay Brockwell suspects more earthly influences.
We have our share of crime. We have our share of murders.
But more than ever, children are being accused of killing children.
For many kids who kill, the most important thing they've ever done in their lives is to kill somebody. And it's the first time anybody has really looked at them and said, yeah, you know, you are important.
You never know what can happen around here anymore.
It is part of a national conversation. What kind of parents are we? What kind of people have we become? What kind of place is this to grow up? In West Memphis, Arkansas, Bob McNamara for Eye on America.
It has a 214 horsepower, 24-valve overhead cam engine. It also has contoured power seats trimmed in supple glove leather. Cab forward design gives it a wide track for aggressive handling. It also has more interior room than a Lexus LS 400. It has standard four-wheel independent suspension with gas-charged struts. It also has dual airbags and 15-vent automatic climate control. It has ABS, computerized traction control, and 16-inch wheels with high-performance tires. Introducing the Chrysler LHS, a car that combines the amenities of a luxury car and the performance of a sports sedan, an elegant study in contradiction. The American luxury car is now in the fast lane.
Introducing a cereal from Kellogg's.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Taste them again for the first time.
It sizzles like summer, and it won't last long. Introducing Red Lobster's Summer Seafood Feast, one of our biggest seafood combinations, just $9.99. With scallops hot off the grill, fried clams, a fish fillet, plus you get 2 kinds of shrimp, succulent scampi, and golden fried shrimp. Wow, 5 kinds of seafood for an incredibly low $9.99. So hurry in and feast tonight, because the Summer Seafood Feast ends soon, only at Red Lobster.
Hold it back off in planning for that rollback in cable television rates scheduled for June 21st. The FCC said today it is delaying enforcement of the cable pricing rollback until October 1st at the earliest. The agency says this is because of a shortage of staff and mountains of paperwork.
Is it tragic coincidence or a terrifying trend for divers and for summer beachgoers? In less than a week, 2 Australians have died in the jaws of great white sharks. Correspondent Bill Lagatuda separates fact from myth.
In Australia today, the funeral was held for a woman killed by a great white shark. She was the mother of quadruplets, and her family watched her die. It was one of 2 grisly attacks that has the country's beachgoers petrified. The latest shark killing was awful, too. A young man on his honeymoon when a great white shark, this is what they look like, devoured him and might have eaten his bride, too, had the man not pushed her out of the way.
You took his life from me. The hero.
Each year in the world, 25 or so people are killed by sharks. Many more have encounters with the fearsome creatures, like a surfer in Hawaii who ran into one just yesterday.
I turned around and I saw a shark. He was trying to swallow me, I guess.
In spite of those attacks, the experts say there's no need for any Jaws-style panic this summer. In fact, the odds of being eaten by a shark are roughly 300 million to 1. Their evil reputations aside, sharks do not as a rule hunt human beings for food. In the waters off California, for example, a shark is far more likely to pass up a swimmer, surfer, or diver in favor of a seal. As for the 2 attacks in Australia,
It's very unfortunate, but they're nothing more, in my opinion, than a coincidence. Just fate. People in the wrong place at the wrong time.
advice upon meeting a shark, try not to thrash around, though that's easier said than done, and know that sharks rarely come near shore. In fact, at America's beaches today, the pollution in the water is far more a threat to safety than any of these. Bill Lagatuda, CBS News, Santa Monica, California.